And so it's like we don't do. I was just thinking about this the other day. I'm sorry, I'm going down so many rabbit trails, but I heard church bells ringing.
Where?
And in
I'm
my
jealous. I
in
never hear.
Genesee, so in
Oh,
Genesee, there
I
are
love
church
church bells.
bells ringing there, and it rings every noon and every night at 9 o'clock, and on Sunday mornings, of course, when it's time for
Yeah.
church. And it hit me, and I was like, "This is a public noise violation."
That's how they've gotten rid of church bells in a lot of cities.
Are you serious?
It's evil. Yeah.
Well, that just should tell you that you've lost your Christian nation. So this is fascinating. The church, I've been thinking about this so much, and I haven't finished putting it all together. I'm almost scared to drop it out. Church bells, their origins are directly, in America anyway, are connected to American freedom and religion. Like they are just like so intertwined together. Paul Revere, right? It was signing the Declaration of Independence. All those things, call to church worship, those, like, it's so intertwined that you can't really separate those two. And so when we hear church bells, our nation and the nation's God are being represented in that sound, right? It's our thank you and amen, right? In church bells. And it reminds people to come to the house of the Lord to say
Right.
thank you, right? And so that's part of our historical religion and history, right? Those are all, and you can't separate those two. And so the public space, when church bells are going off, is being claimed that this is an American nation that trusts the Lord for its freedom and for its ability to be able to worship, right? Like liberty is being proclaimed in the sound of church bells. And it's not a neutral idea. It's saying that the public space sound that just goes everywhere. It's our proclamation that this is a Christian nation. It's just, that's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
And the fact that we would have any other sound from any other religion owning that space is the sound of being taken over. So if you were getting calls of prayer, Muslim prayers, you're done. If you're getting Buddhist, whatever any other religious sound that owns a space in that way without being penalized, and the fact that they would penalize or remove church bells because of the noise violation means you're done,
Yeah.
right? Because the religion is completely under attack at that point.
Because it's a question of who is the potentate of time.
Yes. Oh, that's right. It keeps time. Yes. Thank you. Keep going. I'm not going to interrupt you.
And because the church bells are an artistic claim being made that Christ is the Lord of time, right? That you put the church bells as the clock of the city, the aural clock of the city, the sound clock of the city, and it's a reminder and a claim that Christ is the Lord of time. But it also, you've got all sorts of kind of historic, poetic understanding of church bells, church towers with bells, church organs being played through the tower, different things, that it's one of the ways that the church poetically keeps the devil at bay from the city.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw Venom 2, which was fantastic, but there's this whole section when they're fighting in the church, and they end up using the church bells in order to fight off the devil Venom. And I'm watching it thinking, he has to basically submit to crucifixion to defeat the devil in the church. It's really smart writing, and I'm like, this is Venom 2.
Yes, that's I don't think nope. I think that they just stumbled on that. I just think
I'm sure. I don't think there's anybody that went along and said, you know what I'm gonna do, right? But they know that there are certain images that communicate certain things, right?
It's in their bones.
it's in their bones. They're not trying to make a claim for Jesus, but it is a reality that Jesus has already made the claim on the West.
Yeah, right.
So you either uh, you either lean into the reality of how storytelling works, or you fight it. And Venom 2, I think, was a good example of leaning into it. You get into a church, the bells become the enemy of the wicked.
Yeah.
And then the good guy is the one who's willing to be crucified to rescue the city from the bad guy. It's just really, I mean, he literally, like, they put nails through his hands and feet in the process. So they're not hiding it. It's like holes, when you get to the top of God's thumb and he has to pierce his hands to save his friend. And and then he dies and resurrects, right? It's that storytelling. The reason that works is because Jesus is actually Lord of time. He's actually Lord of history, because it's not like this is always the way storytelling has always worked. It doesn't work this way everywhere all the time, but the places where the church has gone out and had a major influence, it forms the imagination in a particular way of the people that are even born there. So, I mean, this is why you've all of a sudden got atheists going, "Oh wait, no, I'm a cultural Christian."
Cultural Christian. It's formed
cultural Christian.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it all over the place, from atheists that are saying, they're realizing, oh shoot, when we let all of the Muslims into England, without any insistence that they enculturate to us, there isn't the option of neutrality, right? We're now enculturating to them, that's how it works. So all of a sudden, the public spaces, the markers of time, all of those things are being changed and transformed. Well, what's happening in America isn't so much the Muslims, although I've heard
coming.
that places in Minnesota, and that there are places where it is happening.
Dearborn,
is that what it is?
Oh, we call it Dearbornistan.
Dearbornistan.
Wanted, young men to rebuild Western civilization. Must be unafraid of pain, blisters, intellectual rigor, and a lifetime of long shifts with swords and shovels, digging ditches, repelling invaders, and reading stacks of books taller than their fathers. Must be impervious to manipulative women of all sorts, giggling virgins, cyber skanks, and even full cauldrons of Karens or hand-wringing clergy, but always seeking to hear and heed the words of Lady Wisdom. Immune to the leadership of hypocrites and LARPing online masculinitods, unaffected by abusive authorities, petty professors, and all brokers of official respectability. Willing to hoist the Jolly Roger and Johnny Cash's favorite finger whenever faced with idolatry. Long-suffering joy and determination required. Must be willing to dwell among the tombs and graves of the long dead, seeking truths that cannot die. Exhaustion guaranteed. Conflict guaranteed. Mortality guaranteed. New St. Andrews College. Liberal arts for the undaunted.
Legacy media is falling apart, and as it crumbles, a void is opening, a void that we intend to fill. The big legacy news networks currently average just 1.2 million viewers a weeknight, and those numbers are only going to get lower. Legacy media is dying, and the younger generation has moved on. Legacy media panders. Legacy media lies. Legacy media does not know what the truth is, and they don't care about it. Legacy media is a dumpster fire. This is why we few in our wild imaginations have started the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Our goal is to take down the legacy media giant of the last 50 years with our 5 stones. We started in 2016 with our flagship show, Cross Politic, Since those small beginnings, we now air on DirecTV. Our broader podcast network now gets over 4 million downloads a year. And our Fight, Laugh, Feast pub, which includes TV shows like This America, The Rowdy Christian's Guide, Pastors in Politics, and As the Lord Pleases, with your support, many more to come. Our goal is to become the flagship new media 2.0 network over the next 50 years and take over nightly news, sports, sitcoms, hunting shows, and more, all conveniently stored for you in our Fight, Laugh, Feast pub. We're already reaching the next generation through our podcast shows on YouTube, X, and our pub, while also tapping into legacy media audiences by airing our shows on TV through DirecTV and Xfinity. We have made a lot of progress with some duct tape and a good bit of intuition and a lot of sweat. And now we need your support more than ever. The TV networks have had such a negative impact on our households, and we're trying, by the grace of God, to put a stop to that. We have the opportunity. We just need the army. Now more than ever, we need you to join our pub to help us reach our goal of 1 million pub supporters in the next 5 years. There's no way around it. Competing with Fox and the Alphabet networks without money is virtually impossible. It's cheap for you to join. And when you do, you're combining your small monthly support with a growing army of like-minded Christians. We have thousands, we need millions. So if you want more of the Alphabet network's misinformation and lies, don't join. But if you want to give us a mere 5 stones, then please join the pub, and together we will take a swing at the head of big media, all the while fighting, laughing, and feasting to the glory of God.
Who's back? Who are we welcoming back?
From us across politics to President Donald Trump.
Welcome back.
You know you like that.
So good.
Talking to friends on the ground there in DC today, and they're just like, you can just feel
It's electric.
it.
May
Just-
says it so well. But the game ain't the same since I left out.
I'm just happy that you're back now.
I know. Yeah.
Well, actually, the song was for
it's
me.
Inaugural day.
Yeah.
Knox is back in the studio.
Hey, why aren't you guys in DC right now?
I mean, Trump's great and all, but who says we're not?
No, I'm
Well,
not.
We're obviously in the studio here. Hey, y'all, welcome back to Cross Politics on the Fight, Laugh, Feast Network. We ended up in the studio, not in D.C., because of really 2 things. The weather and where our stopovers and the final destination. D.C. is projected to have 4 inches of snow that night when we were landing, and then the inauguration moved inside and we weren't going to be able to attend. So it kind of just
You
became
scared of
like a
snow?
risk reward assessment.
I want to know why you didn't get us golden tickets to get into the rotunda.
Oh, man. I know.
I mean, just like why couldn't you just like right next to Tucker or
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Tucker was
Charlie
there.
Kirk,
For real.
Yeah, Charlie.
You know,
all my friends.
Bezos? I mean,
Yeah,
we could just like
Bezos.
right next to them, right? I mean,
Bezos, Washington Post Bezos.
Elon. I mean, right up there. You didn't have seats for us.
I wish I would have even been the guy that tried to help Carrie Underwood sing.
I don't think she needed any help.
That's probably why they didn't let us come, Gabe.
She didn't need any
You
help.
offered
She
to help
didn't.
Carrie
Or at
sing.
least get the music started.
Yeah, well,
No.
I'll be
She
like,
didn't
Carrie,
need-
Carrie, I got your note.
You can barely run the
Here's
board
your
when I'm
note.
not there.
Here's your note, Carrie.
yeah.
Here's your note.
She didn't need
La
help.
la la la
She-
la la la.
She was
She
fantastic.
hit it. She hit it.
She
Totally
nailed
did.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and who's the tenor that sang some of the other pieces?
The anthem. He sang the anthem,
Yeah,
right?
the anthem,
National
and
anthem.
Omerica.
I-
Omerica.
I was late for that part,
Oh, yeah.
so I missed that.
Yeah.
I was watching a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
So covered it, so
Trying
I
to
missed
watch
that.
it all.
Anyways. Well,
I even missed Carrie live.
okay. Yeah. Public houses or pubs are not just places to drink beer, wine, cider, or even something a little stronger. It's also a unique social center, very often the focus of community life in villages, towns, and cities throughout the world. We here at Cross Politic hope to emulate that for you and yours. That's why you should grab yourself a pub membership at fightlaughfeast.com. That's how you can support
our work. That's how you can keep us going and help us grow. We need you on this ride with us. So pull up a chair, grab a pint, and join us on this ride at fightlaughfeast.com. Go to fightlaughfeast.com, click on join the pub. That's how you support Cross Politic. Page 50 is a distinctly Christian marketing company striving to help Christian-owned businesses grow and succeed in our digital age. They don't want to just make a paycheck. They want to change the world, and that means building it alongside you. The mission is bigger than just Sunday. Page 50 wants to help Christians recapture the work week, economic and political influence, and the public square. Page 50 doesn't work with just anybody, but if you're a believer, they want to work with you. Visit page50.com. That's the word page, the word 50, PAGEFIFTY.com, and see what they can do for you. That's page50.com.
Are we back on YouTube?
Yeah, we are. We are.
Okay.
The oldest president.
Yeah.
To ever be in office.
Trump.
Trump.
Even, what,
He's the oldest.
older than Biden?
Yeah, older than Biden.
Huh.
But
Wow,
he's
can't tell,
he's like,
actually.
He's like months older than Biden.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So, or like a year, like within a year, I think older than Biden. So it's number 47.
He will be I knew he's
47.
definitely gonna be the oldest by the time he's done. I don't know if he's oldest
100%.
yet,
I think he's
but
the oldest.
Even
I
now.
think I remember watching a clip where they're saying he's the oldest president now.
But he's 47.
Yeah. 45 and 47.
45 and 47.
Was there ever another president
that
went like this?
That skipped
I think there's one. What's his name was a one-term president.
what's his name?
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name?
Yeah. Oh, what's his name? But I don't know if
Jimmy Carter.
There's ever
Only served one.
I can't remember. Did he serve one term?
Yeah, the first.
Well, no,
George
it was
Bush.
the president that intentionally served one term.
Oh,
that was
he only wanted one term.
Yeah, he only wanted one term. He was done. Anyways,
I don't know.
Number 47, Inauguration Day. Me and Toby should have been on the ground. Would have been great to have been there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just think this is the most historical inauguration of my life.
Yeah.
Multiple times, and we'll show some of the clips here in a little bit, but the inauguration speech, the inauguration happened indoors in the Capitol Rotunda, right?
Right.
And if you look at the footage, I mean, what Trump was saying was really good, but the filming had a whole other story. Because if you multiple times Trump would say something, everyone would stand up and clap, except for the previous presidents.
Yeah.
Clinton, Bush,
Yeah.
Obama, Biden.
Yeah.
Just sit there.
Kamala.
Just sit there. She was never president. So.
I know, but
she wanted
vice
to be.
president.
She wanted to be.
President.
I posted on Twitter today that Kamala was looking for a job.
Okay. Why are you helping her?
Yeah, that's funny. But everyone would clap and they would sit down. Like to me, that was that's the uniparty. All those presidents. I mean, they're all on the same page. I mean, remember Biden, Bush.
Did you put Bush in there with him?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Bush.
He hates Bush.
Clinton.
In case nobody noticed.
Bush, Clinton, and Obama all did the vax commercial. You remember that vax commercial?
Oh, yeah.
All pushing the vax.
Pfizer.
Well, you
Pfizer
forgot
vax,
who
whatever.
came up with the vax. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
He was very proud of it.
I know.
So
Trump.
you can kind of put him in the same category.
It seems like he's quieting it down.
He's quieting
he
down a
hasn't,
lot.
He hasn't exactly recanted,
No.
although his comments in the speech for the service members
Yes.
Yeah,
who
we'll
were
get to
forced
that.
out
Yes.
for the vax.
Yep.
I mean,
Incredible.
that's
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, maybe that'll be, I don't know if that'll be as close as we get to
recanting
him
or something.
recanting or repenting.
I mean,
but
having RFK in there, that's a recant.
I know.
In
It's huge.
itself.
it's pretty big.
So the filming, and at one point, the cameraman got on the floor. You see it. He gets on the floor and just points his camera at the previous presidents. Just frames them out, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty
You saw
interesting.
they did stand.
They
and
did
clap a couple times.
For the refugees coming back was one.
Yeah.
The three girls,
Yeah, from in the Middle East,
Yeah.
from the Palestinian.
the Hamas people,
Thank
the
you.
Hamas people.
Yeah. So I mean, there was that, maybe a couple other times.
Yeah.
But it was, you're right. It was very, very limited. Very
Yeah.
limited. Most of the time they sat there.
And but what was amazing was, I mean, you listen to the whole speech, and I just constantly in the back of my mind, because let's just walk through it. And I'll make these comments, but here's Trump. Just look back at this last year. Everything that Trump in the last 4 years, 8 years actually, everything that Trump had to go through. I mean, he talks about it actually in his inauguration speech.
Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then and believe even more so now that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
I mean,
Yeah.
First of all, it's still telling that we don't know these assassins. We don't know anything about them. Like, where's the information on that still?
It was just a random kid.
And a random dude at the golf course.
We still don't know
No,
whose cocaine that was in the White House. I don't think
No.
we're going to find out who the assassin's history line, and we're
Yeah.
going to find that stuff out.
Yeah. One of the
So-
most beautiful parts. And I love Trump actually just going through that everything happened to him with Kamala and Biden back there. And with, all the eyes on it. It's like, I literally, who tried to assassinate me? He should have held on to that point, I think, a little longer. But probably one of my favorite part of the inauguration was Carrie Underwood actually singing "America the Beautiful."
Yeah.
And watch, it didn't go as planned, but watch.
You know the words, help me out here. Oh, beautiful for space skies,
Didn't work.
Didn't work.
for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, God shed his grace on
Oh, come on now.
thee, and crown thy good
There's the arena.
with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
That's amazing. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but when you are doing live performances and you have a track, so they also have an auto tune that
Yeah.
accompanies you and
Yep.
fixes your pitch as you're going live, not
In
just in
relationship
post,
to that track.
but
Yeah.
right.
Uh-huh.
So it keeps you in tune and pitch. So all that stuff is gone,
Yeah.
Right.
and she's just going
Just
for it.
nailed it.
And for me, looking at when I see stuff like this, I'm always looking for story. But I was thinking, you know what? This seems like about right. The music doesn't play,
Right.
doesn't go exactly to plan,
And Carrie nails it.
but she's the perfect person for this song to
right.
sing it without auto tune, without pitches. She can just go for it.
Yeah.
I can just sing it.
I'll just sing it.
I'll
You
just
see-
go
you see
for
her
it.
mouth the
Yeah, I'll
words.
just-
He's like, it's not working.
Everything is broken.
Yeah.
Nothing's working.
She says, I'll sing
I'll
it.
just sing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And it seems
Taylor
like
Swift couldn't have done that.
we wouldn't want her to.
She actually is not that accurate
Uh,
live in her singing.
We have the right person.
Yeah, exactly.
Particular
That's my
job.
point. That's my point.
But I mean, I think that's how it's going to have to be. You're either going to have it right now. You're not.
Yeah.
And I'm watching everybody who's coming into Trump's cabinet, his people, everybody's on his team, kind of acting like that.
Isn't that kind of like, I mean, this is what you're getting at, but it's like this perfect metaphor for the deep state, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Is like, we will auto-tune everything.
Yes, absolutely.
Media
Yes.
is, we will auto-tune this.
Yeah. Yes.
So Biden and his cronies and everybody, whoever's pulling the strings behind the scenes,
Yeah.
they're doing all kinds of shenanigans, and we keep having assassination attempts and bags of cocaine and missing laptops
Yeah.
and emails that go missing and all these
Yeah.
things. And it's like, we'll auto-tune that.
Yeah.
We'll auto-tune that. It's
Well-
off. It doesn't match pitch. Something's funny about the and then and the media will cover for you.
Yes.
And it's and at least I think as a picture of like Trump says, all right, we're done with that.
I'm doing it live.
We're gonna do it live. we're gonna do it live.
I'm doing it live.
And you're gonna be able to tell, presumably, if we're auto-tuning or not.
If it's authentic or not.
If it's authentic.
And
or
one
not.
of the things that I was going to save this to talk about it later because we have some more clips. Do you have some guys in Washington we're supposed to be talking to, Gabe?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're ready to be brought in. So
Okay.
they're just hanging out back there.
I'll just say this as I was bringing them in, but You know, I think right now.
Hey, we're on.
Okay.
They're in.
What's up, now? I'll just
They're
talk to
in.
you. I'll talk to them now since they're in here. What's up, Jens? What's up, AJ?
What up? What up? Toby, Gabe, Knox, what's going on, man? We are out here with we are adorning the beautiful house behind us. He was storming the house 4 years ago. Now we're adorning this beautiful people's house behind us. We got a 47 in the house, baby.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, everything's new. We got, autistic people ready to send us to Mars, man. We're stoked. We're stoked.
Wait, where's everybody at? It seems so quiet around y'all right now. Where's everybody?
Well, yeah, there's
Why not? It's because it's about 10 degrees out here.
yeah, it's really cold.
We're some of the
We've been
non-rational.
waiting for you guys a long time. We're like
Yeah.
freezing right
Some of the
now.
non-rational.
We waited too long to bring him in.
How long have you guys been there?
We've been sitting here waiting for you for probably 25 minutes. Yeah, we're cold.
How long have you been in DC?
We've been here since Friday, man.
He was here for the Women's March. He stormed the Women's March.
Yeah. I actually led the National Women's March. That's a long story. Soon to be released video. Pretty funny, but
He trolled
anyway.
him.
Yeah.
Wow.
I showed Knox the picture. I'll show you,
Wait,
Toby.
so did they know that you weren't a woman?
Well, not at the
Okay,
time,
good.
though. Let's just put it that way.
Huh?
Leading the march.
Huh?
Depends,
So this is
depends
not-
on what is a woman.
Did you, I was going to ask you. Did you
Well,
guys get
Trump
a chance?
fixed that problem.
Did you guys get a chance to ask him at all what a woman was? What were some of the answers to that? Or
Didn't get a lot of clarity.
No, not a lot of clarity here. We got somebody coming by here in a motorcade. But amazing. To be honest with you, though, incredible day. The energy here is absolutely palpable. It just feels like a new America, to be honest with you. I don't, it's hard to put into words. Like, we came through, obviously, you guys know COVID and the craziness of the last 4 years and Kamala, the Biden administration, but it feels like a new level of optimism that has finally kind of surfaced. And it just feels like a different vibe. That's all I can say. It just feels really great here. And we'll see what the next 4 years will be, whether we have, the next Nero or the next, Napoleon. I don't know, but I'm really excited. The energy is incredible right now.
AJ, were you here last 4 years ago too?
I was not here 4 years ago, no, but he was.
So that's what I was going to ask. So this vibe compared to that vibe,
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah. This is a triumphant vibe. I mean, it's really almost like not necessarily revenge, but we lived through the insanity of 2020, and the end result being, of course, I would say a rigged election, and the craziest year of our lives politically, with this, the shenanigans that were pulled before our very eyes, the lies, the corruption, and Trump being defeated and Joe Biden becoming the president. And so to circle back here and to see Trump back on top and to win resoundingly, I think there's a sense in which the Kamala Harris abortion cult suffered a massive defeat, right? I mean, they went down in flames, and everybody feels that they are deflated. So their side knows they got their rear ends defeated, and it's now a great opportunity. Not that everything with the Trump administration is fantastic by any stretch. It's obviously a very mixed bag. We have a lot of work to do. Now is not the time to take our foot off the pedal. Now is the time to get to work. But there are a lot of good people in Trump's administration. There are a lot of good people who are going to have the opportunity to have a lot of influence.
It just vindication is in the air. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
What's the rest of the plans for you guys there in DC right now?
So huge week this week. In 3 days will be the March for Life in White Rose Resistance with Seth Gruber and myself. We're putting on a huge conference called Life or Death Con the day before the march. George Grant, Ali Bastucky, Eric Metaxas, Andrew Cedra, a bunch of great pastors. So we're excited about it.
Life or Death Con Thursday the 23rd, and then March for Life is the next day, the 24th.
Man, that's fantastic.
Can people still attend that conference if they want to?
Absolutely, 100%.
Sign up.
How do they find out more information?
If you go to lifeordeathcon.com, you can sign up there. if you're coming out for the March for Life, see me. I mean, there's plenty of tickets available, especially now. Some even more became available because of all the flight cancellations and stuff like that. But if you can get out here, we'll accommodate you.
It's cold there. The weather's cold.
Very
I mean,
cold.
is that dampened the enthusiasm at all?
Yeah.
No, not at all. It was raining the last few days, and believe me, if the trannies can get out here, we can get out here, man. Let's do this.
There's definitely less people. I mean, they were projecting 1 million people here, so it's not quite the numbers, but but the energy and the enthusiasm is really cool.
All right, so check this out. We're going to be live for a little bit. If anything exciting happens, you guys
ping me
just,
and we'll bring him back in.
Bring us back in. We want, especially if anybody's getting arrested again for climbing the fence. I kind of want to see that.
If Jason starts storming the Capitol for some odd reason, I'll be the first to know. You'll be the first to know.
It looks like Jason's nose is getting a little frostbite.
Yeah, you guys go get some warmth. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bless you all. Keep it up.
Appreciate you. Cheers.
Okay, before we get in there, I got some more Trump clips that we want to go through in this inauguration. Before we actually get there, last year or when Trump was leaving office and Biden was coming in office,
2020.
There's all this 2020. There's all this misinformation going on, and one of the charges they're trying to label Trump with was like, oh, he's going to pre-pardon his family. So he's going to pardon his family before he leaves office for any potential charges that might be coming to them.
Because that's what we would do.
And here's what Biden, all the Democratic Party was against it, and media was all against it too. And here's what them talking about it. Go ahead and roll that clip if we have it already.
Have you ever heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of all crime, who's just an innocent person? Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon and they're an innocent person?
But no, it's the president's own family. It's people that have been covering up for the president in addition to his own family.
Is there an innocent explanation for someone to seek preemptive pardons for family members? Would you do that if you knew you were innocent and just worried about outside forces?
The answer to that is going to be no. If you haven't done anything wrong, you sit there and go, what do you need a preemptive pardon for?
If he pardons people preemptively, he's essentially telling the public that these people have committed crimes. And we may not be aware of what they are, but the pardon is clear evidence that crimes have been committed.
I imagine if he decides to issue these preemptive pardons, it will be cast in a way that he is protecting his family and protecting their reputations from, villainous exterior forces that are against him.
First off, we should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability and that of his family members that pardons are a major obsession with him.
The idea of a kind of prospective pardon, this sort of permanent federal get-out-of-jail-free card, that seems to be what we're talking about in the case of this, right, with Giuliani and his 3 eldest children who, as far as we know, have not been convicted of a crime. Maybe they've committed a lot. And they don't want to face action. I don't know. It's weird. I wouldn't ask for a pardon. I don't think I deserve one because I don't think I've done anything criminal. But where does that come from? That concept that you can just kind of wave your magic pardon wand.
We have Tish James. We have Xavier Becerra. Mimi Roca is literally my DA in my town. There will be opportunities to prosecute these people, regardless if they abuse the pardon power as they are thinking.
Hopefully, Ellie, there will be a skyfall on this entire crime family, and there will be another day for them to die.
The president does indeed pardon, let's say, Rudy Giuliani or any members of his family. Would you see that, and I asked Preet Bharara this question, as essentially an admission of guilt?
I certainly would view it that way. I think millions of Americans would view it that way. If there was no belief in criminality, why would he think a pardon was necessary?
CNN has learned President Biden will pardon his son Hunter Biden
and his whole family.
Not only that, so here's the AP's title, I guess, or tweet. Really, do we say X? Their AP's X?
Sure,
that doesn't sound right.
Post.
There we go. Of them. So Biden. Yesterday night, whatever, so when he's still president, he pardoned Anthony Fauci, Mark Milley, He's Pete Hegseth's. Pete Hegseth's replacing his boss there. Mark Milley and the whole January 6th committee.
The whole committee, not just Liz. So here's what it says. Biden pardons Anthony Fauci, Mark Milley, and the January 6th committee an extraordinary use of presidential power against potential Trump revenge.
Yeah.
So that's revenge.
Right.
So when Trump, tries to seek justice, it's going to be revenge. That's how they're labeling it.
Right.
But when the Democrats went after Trump again and again and again using lawfare, that's how the media labeled that justice, trying to get justice with Trump.
Well, I'm still trying to. I can't remember. And I had one of our producers look for it. And if I'm wrong, somebody fact check me or community notes me. That's even better.
Yeah.
But I don't remember.
Did
Trump actually give pardons out to his children?
No.
Because I didn't think he did. I don't remember him doing that.
No.
So I don't even think he gave himself one, did he?
No.
He didn't pardon himself either, right?
Apparently there was word of him talking about it.
Yeah,
But
I remember
again-
the talk
but again-
about it.
But again, was that from Trump or not? I mean,
Yeah,
the media
Or was
sitting
it
here-
the Democrats?
That's
who
right.
were
A
making
talking
it?
point.
Yeah.
President Biden actually pardoned over 2,500 people. Bring up that chart if you have it. Yeah. And here's his pardons compared to the last number
How
of
many is that?
presidents.
There's no numbers on that.
It's 25. Well, the chart it's plus 2,500. So
Just know it's a lot. It's a lot more than ever been
it's
there
over
before.
2,500. Yeah.
Wow.
And so here's the pardons. Obama had a lot of pardons. Why did the Democrats
This
always
many
have
much
so many
more.
powers? Yeah.
This many much more.
Now,
It's this many much.
I think there was one president who.
How many
who-
is that?
who has-
As compared to this many.
Yeah, compared to this many. I think
This
there's one
many,
president.
not as much as this many.
There was a.
Thanks. That's getting more and more helpful.
Yeah. That's what the things I can read these graphs.
Yeah. That's a lot.
These graphs tell you the
So
truth.
his son, of course, Hunter Biden, and then of course, apparently, half his administration he had a pardon or something with Fauci and Milley and all that stuff.
So so Trump's inaugurational speech, he had a second one. And in the second one, because he only had so many that could fit up there in the first, I think it was like 600, 700 people in the main area. And then he had a second one, it's probably like 1,500 people there. They're kind of like his true supporters. And one of the things he says in there is they told me that I couldn't, I almost went to Trump voice. They told me that I couldn't talk about the January 6th.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's the numbers.
There
oh,
we go.
real numbers.
Oh,
there we go. See, I told you this
7,500? I thought it was over 2,500.
That's why I was saying.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think all those are pardons.
I think some of them are commutations of sentences.
Exactly.
Because there's a whole bunch of criminals that he's commuted sentences for too.
2,000's reversal of sentences. Okay.
Only 6,000 are actual pardons, which is look at that. But look at the chart. Look at that. So Harry Truman, maybe Barack Obama, they're like the other big ones, and they're not even 2,500.
Trump doesn't even peak on the list hardly.
No. That is insane.
And who's the
you have
the threat to democracy?
But you have
who's
to
the threat to
ask.
justice?
Yeah.
So you have to look at this and say, in 4 years, how much lawfare was really going on? Right. How much craziness?
Yeah. Let's just go off of what MSNBC told
Let's
us.
just if we trust. Oh, I never want to say that
Let's
word.
just
in
quote
a
the
sentence.
mainstream media.
If we trust MSNBC,
If you take a
can't say
pardon, you're saying you're guilty.
Right.
Who said that? Joy Reid?
Yeah, all of them did.
If you take a pardon, you're guilty.
So what is this? So then now, so Trump is saying his second, because he went down and talked to his main supporters in the second inauguration speech, and he said those people with the January 6th board, what they did was criminal. They deleted all of the evidence and somehow removed all the evidence that we would have had.
The videos and everything?
Well, they said he particularly talked about Nancy Pelosi's request for that he's offered her soldiers to come in and help defend the Capitol. He said, and all the information that has that data is all gone. He's like, basically removed it to nothing. All the information data is just gone nowhere. So now I haven't been able to find out if that's true, but according to Trump and what he said in his second inaugural address, that
kind of behind the scenes to his supporters.
this is kind of for his supporters. He came downstairs and they said, "Hey, Mr. Trump, there's some more people down here support you." And he said, "That's my better speech." And he talked about all the things he couldn't talk about, the pardons that Biden did, the January 6th stuff. He just named a few things that he really wanted to talk about that he didn't. He said, "We'll have plenty of time for that."
Yeah.
But he's saying that there's a lot of information and data that they did that was, he's like, if you would have did this in a civil case, it would have been criminal.
I believe it.
And so we don't even know to what depth. And then Anthony Fauci, like that.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Fauci.
there, and so.
Well, remember, so one of the reasons why they had to pardon Mark Milley is because Mark Milley was giving testimony and said explicitly on a testimony that when Trump was trying to act militarily against China, he called China and warned them behind Biden's back. He said he'd do it all over again. That's treasonous.
Yeah, so here's the deal. I expect all that stuff to get dealt with. And so I'm not too caught up on all of, it seems to me Biden's trying to steal the limelight and protect himself at the same time. By the way, before I move on, I want to talk about this too. It is going to be radically different to have somebody in office running it who is the president.
Yeah. The actual president's actually going to be running the office.
Have no idea
100%
what it's going to be like, because we haven't had this in the last 4 years.
Right.
Someone capable of running the government.
You guys saw the clip with Speaker Johnson.
Yes.
Talking about how he had the private meeting with Biden, and it was like, why
did you know this?
Did you know this? Why did you cancel this? He said, I didn't do that. And he said,
and they're just like,
I guess you did. It had to do with oil, canceling some kind of oil export or something like that.
Selling oil outside
America. But the reason why Johnson knew about it is because it's from Louisiana, and that's where Johnson's from. So he was like, no, like you canceled something. You canceled the oil.
Yeah.
You canceled it. And it's like it's in my state. I know about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, and Biden's like, no. We just said you had to like do some tests or something like that. And Johnson's like, no, like you canceled it.
Yeah.
And Biden looks at him like, what? I did? But that's like how much has that happened?
Wow.
How much has that happened?
And how many other things have went unchecked and undone?
Yeah.
And I would like to know, since
I think we had a lot of presidents in the White House the last 4 years.
So yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Sure. But so we're not going to know. I don't even know how to even manage in my head how it's going to feel to have a president again.
Right.
We haven't had one in 4 years really running the country and engage with the country. I mean, and what I mean by that, so you got Trump, who comes down after doing his inaugural speech, comes down and gives a second inaugural speech. Going to be talking, and he's actually engaging and talking with the people, figuring out what's their problems, what's ailing them, and then saying, okay, here's how we're going to fix it. I mean, it was just amazing. He just went off the cuff, no prompters, for like 40 minutes.
Wow.
Talking to,
I missed that. I totally missed
it was fantastic. Talking to Governor Abbott and talking about the fence and how they worked through the fence. And I didn't even know this part. They went out there and he's like, I wanted to build this 50-foot fence. And they said, President, they'll just climb it. He's like, no way. They actually had professional climbers come out there. And he talked about this, 2 different types of climbers, a rock climber and a guy who climbs for the cartel. And he's like, I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. That cartel guy was better than a professional rock climber.
Wow.
He's like, and we were talking, and he just goes through, they were selling parts of the fence in Texas instead of helping them build the wall. And it was, he just fantastic off the cuff. And that's when I realized, when you have somebody who's present,
right,
and able to run the country,
that's the Carrie Underwood effect.
That's right. We'll make it. Exactly.
I'll just do it.
I got it.
And
I got it. I don't need your notes.
Right.
And here's, I didn't. It probably hit me this morning when I started seeing the motorcade and start seeing them go to. Actually, I started watching when they went to the church this morning for the private
St. John's.
St. John's, yeah.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, I was like, this has to be one of the greatest presidential stories.
Yeah.
Of my lifetime, maybe
in American history.
Maybe in American history.
I think it's in American.
I don't know if there's a better American. You got a guy who lived off the American dream, 2 generations, at least 2 or 3 generations in his family, decides at the later part of his life, the American dream that he knew doesn't exist for other people, is getting taken advantage of, and he decides to get into politics. Gets into politics because he's a famous guy now, kind of has some of the Reagan story, popular TV show, becomes president. No one expected that to happen, that he would actually become the president. All the Republicans are against him.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden becomes I can't think of the last a real populist president. I don't know of one. Wins the election, actually governs really well in comparison to than most of the presidents our lifetime. probably the best one we've had.
Well, the one
And then-
thing we liked about him is he fought some fights that no other conservatives would fight.
And to be fair, he only really got 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't really get all
on
of his
top of all the Russia collusion charges.
all of,
and stuff
started
that took
fighting
up time.
him.
It took up time. right?
Absolutely. From the
Right?
beginning. Like
Right.
one of the things that Trump has represented in all of this is Trump has represented in the populist movement the people who feel taken advantage of the most.
Yeah.
Because they have come for him in the legal aspect, they have come for him in his family aspect, they've come in personal, their money, they have come in him every way, and without being fair, without real justice from him, like no defense, and he's fought it off because he had enough money, but nobody else could have done that.
Someone asked me, why did Snoop Dogg change?
Yeah.
Because in 2016, 17, he said anybody that supports Trump is a blah, 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 blah. Some bad words. And then now Snoop Dogg went and played at one of his after parties yesterday.
Yeah.
And I said because black hip hop artists will support, they know the plays that were run against Trump. They know the lawfare that was run against Trump. I mean, I said, I bet Trump's mugshot changed most black hip hop minds and got them to vote for Trump.
No, but that's the wrong question. The person is already starting off on the wrong foot. Why did he change is the question he should have asked the first time that that Snoop switched. That was Uncle Trump.
Yeah.
That was why did he change
Snoop
to go opposed to Trump in the first time?
Initially?
Yes, that was Uncle Trump. He was what everybody
the mainstream
wanted.
media lied.
If there was a model of what Big Dog looks like, head honcho, like Trump was it.
How many
right?
how many music videos was Trump in? How many hip hop artists got him in his music videos?
Like he was the model. He was the model
Yeah.
for what the American dream looked like. So you got Trump now,
Yeah.
who's coming here, wins the presidency, goes through pure out lawfare. The government's investigating him privately, acting like they're not. The dossier, Russian collusion, loses the next election, right? Stolen from him, right? And then comes back and wins it again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a greater story that we're in the middle of with a handful of promises to people. I got you. I got you. I know what you need. I know what's missing. And guess what? I'm going to put the right people in place. And I've never seen a more focused cabinet, more focused group. And today he was talking about it in both, but last night at his inaugural speech, not his main inaugural, what is it, victory lap, I guess you can call it, last night.
Yeah. The victory ball. Or
the victory
whatever.
ball. Yeah, that's right.
That's what it was. Yeah.
But, just the idea that he's going to sign over 200 executive orders, which, by the way, I don't like this.
No,
I'm not a fan.
It's not a good way to do the presidency.
No.
Day one, you're coming in and undoing everything, the previous executive orders.
But that's what I do appreciate is that the majority of his executive orders are actually removals of the previous executive, and they're not necessarily forward-leaning executive orders. They're just removed. For instance, getting rid of the DEI. Well, do we have the clip where he talks about where America was?
All of his executive orders.
Yeah, but
well, we have a couple clips on that. We have him walking through America's biggest issues.
Yes, let's just start there.
Yeah, let's go there.
As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad.
And wrong.
Facts.
And wrong.
It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly, and other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn. From weeks ago, without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. We can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world.
He ain't wrong.
And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly.
So,
and what's funny is Kamala and Biden are right behind him.
Oh, yeah.
As he's saying all this.
Yeah.
It's
just straight up.
As they should be.
Yeah.
Behind him.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at, so immigration and the border security. This is some of the things that he's going to do with executive orders.
Is there an executive order clip?
Do we have one?
Yeah, we do.
Well, maybe if Gabe was not on his phone.
Do we have that executive order clip? We had one clip where he's gonna go through and talk about
the
everything.
executive orders. Is that this one?
Let's. Is it?
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Oh.
Can I just say, if we only get that out of this,
right?
If that's the only thing that comes out,
sort of like I guess I don't mind executive orders that are about like reaffirming reality.
Right? Yeah, I mean that's
as
right.
of today, the grass is green.
Yeah.
The sky is blue and gravity exists.
If we can just get that,
hallelujah,
we can make everything else work.
I mean, I think I was talking with some friends about, so much of this, and Jason and AJ were alluding to this as we were just talking to them a few minutes ago. Like this is a massive reprieve from God.
I think so.
But it's not yet clear if we're going to repent.
Yeah, I know.
And so I was talking with some friends about, so what would repentance look like? I mean, even just some baby steps of repentance, not like, I mean, obviously you're praying for Trump to have a radical conversion and really go to town. I mean, we'd love that. But what would be some baby steps of repentance? And like the male female thing is actually a pretty significant.
Yeah.
But it's also just sort of a reaffirmation of kind of basic reality.
Yeah.
And which I'm grateful for. And I was thinking, I think Obergefell needs to be overturned. That would be a pretty significant step of repentance.
Yeah.
It's like that's wrong. You can overturn Roe like we did and still kind of pull the punch, where it's like, I'm grateful for it. I mean, it was a monstrosity. I think I saw recently Pastor Wilson likened it to the statue of Dagon falling down
and breaking
as like, that's maybe a good picture. Like when that happened, it was like God did that despite Israel.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like Israel's like, we're really sorry about putting the ark out there like a talisman. Like they hadn't repented yet.
Yeah.
But God did it.
I think that's Trump's first election.
And that's okay. Yeah.
I think his second election, I think this is following repentance. We just haven't repented all the way down.
Yeah.
I don't think you get this apart from some sort of repentance happening, especially with the kind of people that he's put in place, like Pete Hegseth and others like that follow. You don't get that without some sort of repentance. It's just not a full orbed repentance yet.
Yeah, I agree. I'm inclined to think that there is repentance happening.
Yeah.
The question, I guess, would be, what would be the indications of it publicly?
Trump's election.
Yeah. Well.
And the return, the fall of the egalitarianism that I see, and the rise of masculinity, even in its kind of weird form, it's still kind of taking shape.
Yeah.
But it's there in a way that I didn't expect to see this coming. We only have 4 years, and in that 4 years of Biden, we got a mess. And the fact that that's already taken its full course and it's not 8 or 12 is merciful.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have a course correction, the negative world is on its on its deathbed.
Me and Toby talked about this while you were gone.
I think. Oh, did you?
Yeah, we
I
already
think,
figured it out.
I think negative world is taking a huge hit right now.
Well, it's almost like Christians are back in a positive world. Almost, maybe at least.
No,
neutral.
it's at a neutral. It's not positive yet.
Yeah.
But we have an opportunity. This right now, what this populist movement really needs is a culture. It needs a religious revival at the core of it. Right now, it's just people grasping in one sense. And I think you do have some people who are like repenting, and the others are like, we're kind of with you, but we don't want the whole thing yet. But when what he decides to do, and the effect that I think is going to have on American society is going to be such a huge contrast to what we had with Biden.
Oh yeah,
that I think it might. We have an opportunity for revival if we're smart,
right?
Because populist movements will tear down things,
right?
The gospel, teaching people to live godly, can bring revival.
That's right.
And while people are tearing down, we know we don't want that. We don't want this.
Right.
We got to be careful of what we're going to build next.
Right.
That's where I'm kind of like, you know, when I started seeing God's people fight with the Philistines to tear down the enemies of God, but yet we haven't got the right people in place yet.
Right.
I'm like, okay, this is going the right direction.
Right.
We just need the kind of revival that brings in a repentant heart to build something. When we get to the building part, that's going to be the thing that's going to be like, oh man, we didn't get it.
Right.
So this next, this next clip is actually the one that we wanted, where he's going to go through a lot of his executive orders. So go ahead and roll it.
Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense.
Reformation.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country.
Let's go.
Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before.
1798.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So he kind of, in one sense, he's saying if you're not going to act on a local level in your government to deal with the issue, we've now said, no, this is such a huge problem. It's a national security problem.
Right.
I'm going to act.
Yeah.
And
it is. and it has become. I mean,
I agree. I agree.
In many places.
I agree. I'm just looking at all the areas that this could go wrong.
I know. I honestly, I would like a constitutional scholar to actually kind of like go through that for me.
Some of
walk
this,
me through it. Is this legal or not?
But I mean,
because of your concerns.
But at this point, you have to say, well, it seems like that's better than just having it run rampant. Like, at least, I mean, we're having to tell the other side to get up and go. At least with this one, we could say we could pull back. Okay, maybe that was a little too far. We could pull that back. But in the process, that kind of safety is better than not having any at all.
One of our listeners said the Alien at War Act means states can deport too.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
But shouldn't they have, I guess, instead of just turning them over to ICE, right? They can actually say, "Now we don't want you here. Get out."
Get out.
No,
and just act on their own.
Okay.
Yeah. Protect their sovereignty.
And there's so much more to.
Yeah. So well, let's get into there's some other things.
What time you have to get out of here?
I got time.
You got until about 2:45, something like that, Toby. So you gotta.
I go on.
Okay.
You want me to leave?
No.
Trying to get me to leave.
So here's Trump. This tariff issue. I'm for it and I'm against it. I'm torn. But let's roll the clip first.
I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens.
Unless they're TikTok.
Well, no, Trump.
I don't know how it's gonna work, but
TikTok's gonna be right.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no. Hey, that's an interesting point. So the tariff thing. I think tariffs can be used to level a playing field where, let's say, a nation's using slave labor or something like that, or and help maybe keep jobs in the U.S. You're still going to be taxing your citizens, no matter how. If you do the income tax, or you get rid of the income tax and you do tariffs, it's only going to jack the prices up for citizens to purchase. So no matter what, you're still taxing citizens one way or another. But the thing that you're doing with the tariffs is you're actually fighting other countries instead of having the tax situation just be kind of a U.S. IRS citizen thing. Does that make sense? Now it becomes a tariff thing on another country that the citizens have to pay higher for, but you're involving and putting pressure on another country.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we still got to chew on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think
I'm both ways.
I mean, I do think if you just think about it as a high sales tax,
yeah,
then it's like, do you prefer income tax over sales tax? And I prefer sales tax to income tax because at least there
I like no tax.
Well, the other thing to calculate,
that was not one of the options.
I know,
but the other thing to calculate though in all this is, are you going to end up paying more on tariff taxes than you would on income tax? So they pull one tax and give you another. Do you end up actually paying more? Yeah.
Can we just remove regulation, let the market work it out?
That's the real solution. Is at the very least, if you're going to play this game, you've got to completely slash regulations, which is what I'm hoping
is going to happen.
The Elon group is going to do.
Doge.
Because we need to unleash America, like stop penalizing Americans for wanting to make stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, I hope that's what's behind all this. I hope that they're like the Thomas Masseys and the others I'm not a libertarian, but they're right about a lot of the regulation stuff. Yeah. Unleash the private workers of America, the entrepreneurial spirit, let people start businesses and stop telling them how to run their businesses with all these regulations. Right. That's really what's crippling the American economy.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of jobs that are available that we just can't get started, get off the ground.
Because I was talking to somebody, got a friend who's a barber, and like in Idaho.
Yeah.
Like you have to go through this licensing process to be a barber in Idaho.
In every state.
To cut hair.
Yeah, I know.
To cut hair.
Can't cut hair without a license.
That's like,
and they just came after, we did this in Idaho too. They came after women who do braids. A lot of the African ladies are really good at braids. And so they learned the skill of braiding hair. And they were like, oh yeah.
You have a license.
You gotta have a license, gotta tax that.
Right.
And so it was a huge ordeal. Be like, yo, we gotta get them. Yeah. Now think about Idaho going after African women who braid hair.
Braiding hair? Yeah.
In Idaho.
Right.
So how much money is going through whatever it is, you can't do it unless, well, that hinders, now it makes everybody have to be in a black market.
Right.
Right. Like, so now if you did want taxes,
go to their house.
And we're definitely not giving you none now.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Like that's just, no, it doesn't work that way. And it's, if the thing is like, well, we're concerned about American jobs, like this might have a short-term effect, but it doesn't do what we need long-term, which is to find a product that someone decides to invest in. Don't penalize them for doing it, so that they can hire other people, so they can figure out how to make it at a more affordable price for other folks to be able to spend money for the product they made for them. Right. If there's competition in the system, then guess what? The prices go down for us. Yep. But regulation, primarily, it holds the prices up, so there's no competition.
And it gives advantages to, talk about
other countries who are willing to have slave labor.
Right. Well, that and also the companies that already are wealthy.
That's right.
So in terms of creating monopolies and creating these privileged classes, it really that is unfairly privileging the wealthy and the powerful because they can afford to pay all the stuff.
But the problem is that we've all gotten way too comfortable with fascism.
Yep.
Right. In one sense, we don't mind as long as it's our version of fascism.
Yeah.
And the thing we have to get back to are the really basics. Who owns the work? Who gets to sell the work?
Yeah.
If it's not the federal government,
Yeah.
then they don't really have a great conversation. They don't have a voice in this conversation, right? And if it's me, then guess what? I get to decide those things.
Is it your property?
Is it your property? And that's what work is. That's what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, your work, your labor, your resources, the doctrine of private property,
Yes.
thou shalt not steal.
Yeah.
Right. From God Almighty.
Yeah.
Means that the government, nobody has the right to come in and take that.
And I think we're afraid too of the free market actually acting free because it takes time, right? When I can come in and sign an executive order and do tariffs, that's immediate payout, right? Immediate payout. I get that so fast. Letting the free market come up and figure things out takes a little time. When it does, though, it does double over exponentially. Like it just triples really quickly. But the process takes time. And when you're fighting against foreign powers who are just able to do the quick things because they're Marxists, because they're socialist countries, it makes you afraid because like, man, they're going to win. But the real battle is, do you believe that freedom is better than slavery? Do you believe that freedom actually wins out over against Marxism and socialism? If you believe that, put your money where your mouth is and let it work.
Right.
It really does work, but we don't believe that. And so we all play some sort of game of fascism. It's just, is it our brand of it?
Right.
And that's not going to work.
I think this
long
actually
term.
ties into the H-1B discussion. We interviewed a guy last Krikorian, Mark Krikorian last week to talk about it, and I'm relatively convinced that visa program has been highly abused. And is massively being overused, and it is creating, I think, very poor incentives for American workers, because if they know that the chances are good that their jobs are going to be exported to foreign workers, I think it's hurting our culture. At the same time, I don't think some of the populist pushback understands enough about how a free market really is part of how we rebuild
that is America first,
a healthy America first culture. And sometimes, this is just, it's tweets and headlines. So you don't know exactly what everybody means, but sometimes it sounds like we don't want a foreign fascism. We want a local fascism.
Yeah.
We America first fascism.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, we don't want either one.
Yeah.
And I do think we need to slash and probably cripple that whole visa program? Yes, I think we probably do. At the same time, we really need to completely slash all the regulations, and that doesn't turn America into an economic zone. A free market actually turns it into a personal zone.
Yeah.
It allows people to say, this is my work, my labor, my family, and I'll sell it and I'll hire who I want.
Yeah.
And it becomes personal.
And it benefits the people who are the citizens here too, though, because you got to remember, if I can get this done and made at a price that's more affordable for you, and I've made it more efficient,
better for everyone,
everybody, exactly,
right?
It brings the price of it down in the market too, so that it becomes efficient for me to do this and benefits you as much. And so it's not like one or the other. You can have both in this one,
right?
You can be served well in this.
But when the government is constantly inserting itself, and here's how much you have to pay them. And if it's this many hours, then that, and here's the health benefits you required. And like what that does is that's actually creating friction points between people, rather than allowing people to have a free exchange of, will you work for me for this much? And they say, okay, or no, I'm gonna look for something else. That personalism is what built America.
Man, maybe Trump will appoint David Bahnsen or someone into his economic cabinet. One of the
if he needs to listen to Thomas Massey and Rand.
Rand Paul, people.
Some of these guys, I mean, at least on these things, they're really solid.
One of the things that we're doing, so we did a soft launch of crosspoliticnews.com last week. We got about 15 journalists already signed up. You can go to the website. There's been a lot of great articles actually in the last week there. And we hope to have 50 journalists kind of by the end of the year will be our goal. Excited about the project, but one of the things that we're doing is we're constantly trying to think how can we better get our people to think about the world the way God wants us to think about the world. So one of the things that we're doing with crosspoliticnews.com is, how you go to a news website and you have categories, and this is international politics, or this is economy, or this is health and all that stuff. Well, instead of working with all those categories, we will be having those categories, but we'll call them tags. But the thing we're doing is dividing up our news by family government, church government, and civil government.
I like that.
So each news article will be tagged
according to that,
according to those categories.
All
Because
those 3 different governments.
those 3 different governments.
Chad,
And then-
one more.
and then there'll be
Personal.
Then there'll be a tag under that, like, yo, this is abortion. This is a
Sure.
whatever. This is Minnesota kind of thing. But the thing that I think is really helpful about that is because how many people think that your business is an extension of the government?
Right.
So when we go, it's actually extension of the family.
Right.
The family owns that. So when you see an article about AI or whatever, about business, about the next Apple update or whatever,
the economy,
that's going to be family. That goes under the family jurisdiction and on our news category, it'll be tagged under the family. So we really need to there's talk about fascism. We have fascism in our minds and how we even read the news.
Yeah.
And everything.
I was just were you gonna say anything else?
No.
Okay.
No.
Ever?
Because I was gonna just completely no, I was just thinking about that. I wrote this down. I just wanted to say this.
Yeah.
We have watched them come for Trump in every way imaginable over the last 8 years, maybe 9, before he was even elected.
Right.
And I was thinking, with him coming into office now, being sworn in officially the president, how do you come for a man that you've lied about in every possible way? You tried to assassinate him twice. He's become the president. I just thought you better buckle up if you're watching this show, because it's not over. How do you come for a man now that's jumped every hurdle that you've put in front of him, every wall that you put in front of him and his family, and he's back now as the president of the United States with a crew that knows what time it is?
Do you think this is a counter question?
Yeah,
but related. It just occurs to me, like that chart of pardons.
Yeah,
I mean
6,000 plus.
Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, is that actually is that their retreat?
Yes, that's the tail between the legs.
That's the tail between the legs.
Absolutely.
That's them.
Admitting Fauci basically could have been legally charged.
And so I'm wondering. I mean, it's part of my question is so. Yeah, what do you do? But like, are they in full tilt retreat?
Yes, but it reminds me of the moment in The Lord of the Rings. Finally get to use this, where Gandalf is like, "You shall not pass," and then whatever demon things tell, like he falls.
Yeah.
In the movie, I didn't read the book yet. He falls, but the tail grabs Gandalf as he's going down. So it's a victory. But I don't expect these jokers to go down so quietly. They're retreating. They're losing. DEI is gone. Companies are changing their whole everything because of what Trump is, even his winning. So, but you have to imagine, like, if you're the guys on the other team right now, what are you sitting there cooking up to say about them? A lot of people switched from Democrat to Republican when Obama got up there and repeated old tropes. So none of the old stuff works. But my whole point is to say we're going to see a whole new line of attacking that they have to come up with.
Oh yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
That didn't work. That we haven't seen in 8 years.
Right.
That has to be. I mean, when the deep state starts getting stabbed,
they have to come up with something different.
When the deep state knows it's about to die, what does this last scream look like? What does that look like?
Pretty
and
gnarly,
I'm saying we're happy, and as we should be. We should be taking the victory laps. But we should also be saying, wait a second.
What are they going to do?
Yes, they should know this ain't good for them.
I mean, the whole this is back to the negative world thing.
Yes.
Being on it's gasping deathbed. This is related to the vibe shift kind of narrative, but it's like you're not hearing them talk about like gay rights.
Right.
You're not you're not hearing them talk about, we got to, celebrate drag queens.
Yeah.
Like that's like completely like not
At least
working.
this last month.
Yes, but the question will be, so what do they come?
What do you say
next?
What do you say to this?
I mean, I think right now the thing I've picked up on with I was watching NBC this morning.
I'm sorry.
That's what I was watching, and I'm actually would say, I mean, it was still biased, but I think they were at least trying to be unbiased. Or they were, I mean, they actually had like positive things to say. Like, I mean, some of the comments you made about just even the camera shots and the rotunda and everything, like several of the ladies were like, wow, this is just feels like such a regal moment. Like they actually said that, and they're like, I'm not really into like monarchies and stuff, but like
right, everybody can feel
but it was like it felt that, and the the band playing and just sort of all of it, and but I think they were even the closest they got to something that I think where they kept on coming back to. So this is maybe an answer to your question is abuse of power. It's sort of a nervousness of like, this is that moment where like he could do anything and we're afraid he might abuse his power. And I think that might be the play is like waiting for him to do something that they think they can grab onto and say, look, he's abusing his power. Look, he is a Hitler. Look, he is a Mussolini. Look, he is a Stalin or whatever.
I think, but see, that's still, I mean, I can see that. I think that's a move. But we've had so much abuse of power in the last 4 years.
I know.
It's going to be hard for us to actually believe that. I think he could. I believe Trump could actually abuse his powers, and we wouldn't care for the first 2 years. Because we've seen so much horrible abuse of power over the last 5 years. And we're like, yeah.
Well, the thing here, too, is
let the man go for a minute. He'll come back.
Trump has one of his things that he first attacked in his first term was mainstream media.
Right.
And he's basically eliminated their voice.
Destroyed them.
Oh, yes.
So even if Trump does something, or even if the leftists, let's say, try to run some sort of narrative in the media, it's not going to have the same effect like the Russia collusion. Even let's say the leftists even come up with something real happen, China collusion or whatever. I don't think anybody's going to listen to him. The boy who cried wolf or whatever kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody's actually agreeing with you online. Says in Europe, that's what I heard today from all the political analysts were abuse of power.
Abuse of power. Yeah. It seems like that's what they're hoping they might have something for. But to
buy them some time.
The social issues though are not a thing. It just didn't. It didn't work leading up to the election. I don't think it's going to work now.
And I think you're right. I think that's probably it. But they don't have anything to throw at them at this point. At least for these. No. And the person who has invested more than anybody else in Trump's campaign and being successful in this last election is JD Vance. It's incumbent on him to be very concerned about how well Trump's success
4 years ago,
because he's got 8 years potentially in the bag.
Did you see Mike Pence's wife didn't show up today?
I don't even know her name.
I forget her name, but
Mrs. Pence.
Mike came in to the rotunda by himself.
Yeah.
And his wife went there.
Yeah.
So
it happens.
I mean, she could be sick or whatever. I mean,
Michelle Obama didn't come either.
I didn't even see Pence, so I wasn't even concerned
Michelle
about
hadn't been around around Obama in the last couple of weeks to a month.
I don't know if you guys had something else to hit, but I was going to ask you guys about all the
Karen.
That's right.
Mike Pence's wife's name is Karen.
All the
of course,
all the prayers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Franklin did good.
Did you catch all the prayers?
I enjoyed Franklin's.
2 at the beginning, 3 at the end.
I missed I only caught 2.
Oh, you didn't catch the 3rd?
I missed Franklin. Who's at the beginning?
Knox, you missed the last 3?
I did.
This is not going to be helpful.
Who was the second one in the opening? So Franklin Graham.
No, the first one was Cardinal Dolan. He's the Roman Catholic.
Okay.
He prayed first.
The papist.
And it was a decent, generically Christian prayer.
Okay.
Huh. Some of us wouldn't think so, but okay.
Yeah. Whatever. You could have prayed it.
What? I don't know if I'm offended by that. Mine would have been Christian.
Yeah. And then Franklin Graham. And Franklin Graham, I think, did a good job.
He's pretty solid. Yeah.
And specifically,
he
gave
all sovereign glory to God.
Yeah, prayed that God would and acknowledge that if we turned our back on God, there's no way we can become great again.
I saw that part. I saw that.
And prayed, explicitly in the name of Jesus, King of Kings, Lord of Lords.
Okay.
So then that's at the beginning, and then at the end, you get this is the Trump DEI moment.
Okay. Yeah, you get the rabbi. You got the rabbi.
So you get up now. All things being equal, I would say this is probably one of the more explicitly Christian inaugurations we probably have seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Yeah. I didn't do a deep dive into these things.
Bushes would have been, but yeah.
But here's the thing. You have 5 clerics. Okay, five clergymen. And first of all, point out they were all men. There wasn't a woman.
Okay, winning here.
So that's a step in the right direction. There were also no Muslims.
All right.
No, I think there's an imam.
No,
there wasn't.
No, just the rabbi.
No, there's no imam, right? No,
There was. I don't see that here. I see Cardinal Timothy Dolan.
Was he praying?
Reverend Franklin Graham.
Was he praying at the inauguration?
No, he didn't say a prayer.
Rabbi Ari Berman. I don't see a Muslim on here. I see Franklin.
There's no
Father Franklin Mann, a retired Catholic. Pastor Lorenzo Swell. Now that guy got on my nerves.
Oh, totally. The black guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
He was performing.
Yeah.
That guy got on my nerves.
Yeah, so he was, but he's like just a Protestant, right? He's
Yeah.
I mean, black church pastor.
He probably didn't know if he's a Protestant or not.
The
she texted it to us.
Yeah, I still don't see on my list. Still don't see a Muslim on here.
You,
Imam Hushman Ali Husseini.
He's leader of the Kabbalah Islamic Center.
He's originally offered Muslim benediction, did not appear at the event.
He did not appear.
Okay.
So
producers fired.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he didn't appear. I mean, that's interesting that they had him on the list.
Yeah,
but he didn't actually pray.
Yeah.
So anyways, so maybe they tried to have a Muslim, but I was grateful that they did.
Look at God.
Yeah, right. So now the most, I think the most cringeworthy moment was the rabbi.
Oh, really?
He
Ari Berman.
Yeah, he prayed.
It's like a half prayer.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was like couldn't decide if he was praying or he was giving a speech.
Yeah,
but then had the audacity to say, not only do we trust in God, but God trusts in us.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was like it was cringe that we had somebody who doesn't know Jesus praying for our country. And that it was super cringe that he was trying to say that the most holy Almighty God is somehow trusting in America. It was pretty awful.
Let you know he ain't talking about Jesus.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So he was praying to some other
puny God.
He was praying to some other
God,
some other idol. But I would say again, all things being equal, I would say it was a relatively Christian inauguration. With the little bit of poo there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you guys had other observations.
I was just annoyed.
I was a black guy. He's performative, and Jesus had a specific parable dedicated to that kind of prayer.
Yeah.
And as far as style, like I love that style, like of.
Well, he was just praying MLK, right? I mean, he was. Yeah, it wasn't he doing. But he was riffing off of a speech, right? I don't have a problem with even how his voice was fluctuating. I had a problem with his eyes open. He's doing this and like all the hand like that performative stuff. Massive problem. That's actually what I wanted to know. Like I was curious.
No,
because it's very strange to me.
That was.
But I was like, am I? Is this just a different tradition that I'm not a?
No, you could have. So all that stuff, all the thing that looks performative, someone who actually believes and loves the Lord, and it has grown up, and that's they can do all of those things, and you would be like, that person is convicted by the Spirit.
Okay.
Right, like there's a difference in somebody just throwing and waving their hands up and doing stuff, and you like, wait, no conviction whatsoever in your heart, at all. And I think people can look at it and be like, that's fake. Like we know that's fake, because there's been plenty of times where there's lots of old men who all they do is pray before the Lord, and they would have done all the same things. You've been like, now that man knows Jesus.
Yeah, he believes it.
He knows the Lord. And there's no conviction there that validates any of the things that he did. But all the things that you do when you have conviction were done without conviction. And so then you get showmanship. That's what happens.
That's fair.
And so I mean it bothered me because when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, he's performing. Like just stop. And I've seen him before, and it's always performance. And I really hate when it's a performance with a particular style that I grew up in. And I know you're being fake.
So you're particularly feeling it because it's like, okay,
he was fake.
You're faking this.
I mean, and I'll be honest with you. There's been moments where you can see somebody like TD Jakes. He would have done a better job.
Okay.
And look more convicted.
And had way more conviction about it, because at least his fake is almost believable.
Yeah,
like that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right, Toby, last word. 1 minute. What do you think is going to happen this next month, and kind of where do you think our battles are going to come at?
Oh man,
60 seconds or
1
less.
minute.
Yeah.
I guess my overwhelming thought is gratitude.
Yeah.
That's good.
I do think that I do think this is historic. I have never been. I don't think I've ever been this interested.
Nope.
In an inauguration, I don't think I've ever been this interested in a new president's administration. I think your point about the cabinet people that he's picking. There's never been a people are likening this to the Avengers, the Dream Team or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like
down.
I mean, he is hand selecting people who are outsiders and who have made their mark on our culture as being outsiders and being against the mainstream narrative and what has come to be called the deep state, the swamp.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's pointed out the fact that Trump was a unexpected winner in 2016.
Yep.
And knew that it was bad, knew there was a swamp, but apparently, didn't know how bad it was. The swamp tried to eat him. The swamp tried to kill him. And I think that he's come back, and I think there's a very good chance that he's going to do a lot more because he knows where all the traps are essentially now.
Yeah.
And so I'm optimistic. I'm excited. I would also echo what our friends on the ground there, AJ and Jason, said, which is that this is not a moment to coast. This is not a moment to expect Trump to fix everything at all.
Yeah.
This is a moment for Christians to build hard.
Yeah.
I think Knox, your point earlier about it's one thing to demo, it's another thing to build.
Yep.
Build your family, build a church, build a business, build a community.
Yep.
Work at the local level in particular. Make your city Christian. Make your county Christian, and work at your state. And at the very least, I think we're likely to have 2 to 4 years of relative protection. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that, and I want us to we need to be busy.
Yeah. Amen.
That's good. It's hard to add anything to that. I'm actually gonna let the man cook. I think
see what he's serving.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my criticisms very close to my chest and let the man cook for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I think he's probably the only one who knows how far the decay is. And one of the things I appreciate, at least about Trump and the populist movement, is I am I have a lot of perfectionism in me. When I want something done, I want it to get there perfectly, even the process. But processes to sanctification isn't perfect in the sense that it happens overnight. It goes through a process, and it's just a little bit of this, a little less of that, a little less of this, and before you know, it's gone. And I think I want to remember that process. Let the man cook. It might not be perfect in how he does everything. It might not be exactly how I want it to go. Even I don't like the tariff stuff. I don't like some of the things he's doing. I'm gonna let the man cook.
Yeah.
Because, and what I mean by that is I'm gonna let what populist movements are supposed to do, and I want to keep them on track, destroy the stuff we all agreed to destroy. Now that's where our agreement is. Our agreement isn't what we're deciding to build. Our agreement is what we said would need to be destroyed.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let the man work. But as soon as they start trying to build something, I want to keep them in check. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Let's talk about building 4 years after this. Your job is a wrecking ball. You are chemo.
Yeah.
Let chemo work.
Yeah. Yep.
It's gonna go after some things that I don't want it to go after.
Kinda
That
like
might
David and
weaken,
Solomon
weaken the immune system a little bit, and we might not like that. But we have a disease that we absolutely have to get rid of.
Yeah.
And chemo is seemed to be what God has called for at this particular time to get it out of our system.
And and to the extent that we're all still the lymph nodes, we need to be taking our vitamins.
That's right.
Take
That's
your vitamins.
exactly right.
Go to church.
Yeah,
That's
build
right.
a family.
It needs a culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't be like the atheists that don't have any songs. We're going to have to be the song of this particular movement right now and be the culture of it. And that way, there can be life after the chemo's done.
Yeah. Right.
Here's a small little idea in marching order from here. A bunch of friends of ours down in Boise went and sang psalms in the Capitol down in Boise.
I saw that. That's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And just once a month, go to your Capitol and just sing psalms.
Yeah.
Just like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Get a bunch of people to go sing psalms like that. God moves. God moves through our singing. God moves through our worship. And I mean, just watching like Carrie Underwood sing "America the Beautiful."
Right.
I mean, music, God uses music.
Right.
Especially the Psalms.
Especially Psalms.
Yeah,
right.
that's
And
right.
everyone felt Carrie Underwood.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even in imagine.
And especially just like, nah, just sing it.
And,
I'll just sing it.
I'll just
and
sing it.
everyone, you remember the video that they also went to when Carrie Underwood was singing, they also went to the big 20,000.
Yeah, everybody's
seat.
singing.
Imagine if that was a psalm.
Yeah. Right.
How amazing and glorious that would be. So
yeah,
go try once a month. Go sing in your capital. Sing some psalms there.
Right.
30 minutes and go.
Right.
Well, if you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.
A master called together a few young men of this generation and spoke to them, saying, I gave your great-grandfathers a time of despair and poverty and global war. They were strong and victorious and built an empire greater than any other. But they were terrible fathers and raised entitled sons and daughters of rot who inherited everything through no courage of their own. To those rotten sons, your own grandfathers, I gave abundance and wealth and stability. But they pissed it all away on debauchery and sexual revolution, establishing many idols and slaughtering tens of millions of children in sacrifice to their appetites. One generation fought against the perpetrators of a great Holocaust. The next dishonored that victory with an even greater Holocaust of their own children. The children who did survive, your fathers, carried on the sexual descent of their parents into new madness and new disease, piercing and inking their skin like death-worshipping pagans as they did, establishing special days of pride to celebrate the debauch, slaughtering more children and castrating and poisoning others, claiming to be creators when they were destroyers, mutilating the young and calling it acceptance. All these generations I have judged, and am judging. Their madness now is only a taste of my wrath. The young men were afraid and asked the master why he had called them and why he was telling them these things. Because it is now your turn. I am giving all of this chaos to you, he said. Your inheritance is a world of crumbling false gods crowded with blind and mad worshippers. I am entrusting you with a world of empires built on cracked and heaving foundations. The time of your inheritance is near. You have only a little while to prepare yourselves. Seize this moment of chaos and build me a world of sanity and righteousness. When I return, I will judge what you have built for me. With so much rubble to work with, I expect great things. The master turned to leave, but the young men begged him to wait. How can we do this? They asked. There are hundreds of millions of unbelievers in our nation alone and only a few of us. Their master answered, saying, I am not a hard master. You will have the truth and wisdom if you desire it. And you may each choose one woman to help you. That should be enough. Go now and build New St. Andrews College. Carpe Chaos.